He's right down in front of the cabin. Look at him. Yep. Come on. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is a good one. Oh, baby. It was a beautiful Saturday evening, so my dad and I thought we could capitalize on it and try our hand at a bit of brook trout fishing. This is yet another river that was very important in my development as a fly fisherman. It is truly a trout haven. Pools are formed by deep cuts along the bank that are walled off from the central canal of the river by dense, thick beds of reeds. I often feel bad for disturbing such a picturesque area. I try to move slowly and along the exact same path each time I travel these waterways, as to not disturb the habitat which supports so many critical species. I have been fortunate enough to harvest many trout from this river with my fly rod over the years, but it has a decently high degree of technical difficulty given the surrounding reeds and overhanging tree limbs, accompanied by the narrow targets where you're trying to place your fly. I've lost many flies in these obstacles, but catching a fish after dodging all of these is nothing short of pure bliss. Fly fishing's barrier to entry is merely one of perception. In reality, it is not superior nor inferior to any other means of catching a fish. I will say that since I began fly fishing nearly a decade ago now, I instantly took to it and have increasingly grown to love it each year. It is a very active type of fishing, lots of casting, positioning, watching for the fish to hit the top water before setting the hook. The rhythm of casting is incredibly soothing mentally, and the satisfaction I receive after watching a perfectly cast line reach its natural conclusion before laying neatly on the water's surface is indescribable. I really do think it's one of those things in life that if it needs to be explained to you, you'll never understand. If you enjoy fly fishing, it comes from a place within, an inherent force. This was my first night trying out my new fly rod. I've never owned one of this quality before. Due to what most people would call pathological frugality, all of mine prior to this had been gifted from friends who'd broken the tip off theirs, and I'd rigged together a tip to fix it. They served my needs well over the years, and I never heard the fish complain about my MacGyvered together Frankenrods. And frankly, because of this, I never knew what a properly weighted, properly balanced fly fishing rod was supposed to feel like. This rod was a graduation gift from my parents. Its quality and craftsmanship is far superior to any that I would have purchased on my own. Perfectly balanced, lightweight, packable. It truly was the rod I would have bought for myself in a dream. My parents thought of every detail in selecting it. It was the most appropriate and thoughtful gift for a person whose stress melts away at the sound of a whistling fly line. Symbolically, a fly fishing rod to me is a vector for adventure, and I can't wait to see what future adventures this rod and I will have together. Every time I come to this river, I find that usually you harvest a lot of small trout, but there's usually one large one lurking. It was nearing the end of the evening, and my mind was wandering away from fishing, when a splash at the end of my fly line snapped my attention back into place. I missed the hook set and frantically tried to get my fly back into position. I worried that this fish had gotten a taste of the metal hook and would be scared off from trying again. I instantly recognized this as a keeper trout when I saw its red-orange belly break the water surface, and I guessed it to be about 10 inches in length. All I could do was hope that he would come back. I kept at it for quite some time, but eventually I decided to change my fly to one of a different color to see if he'd not recognize that and try to make a run at it. This plan paid off well, and within a few casts he'd come back for my line. I slowly but surely worked him towards me by stripping line off the rod. Within seconds he was at my feet, and I could tell that he was a far bigger trout than I had suspected. He was hooked only superficially, perfectly at the angle of his mouth, and I feared that he'd get away if I didn't act fast. Eventually, I put him out of his misery and got him onto my stringer. He ended up being about a 12.5-inch trout. An absolutely amazing brook trout experience, as good as they come in these parts. Catching a trout of this beauty and size was just the cherry on top of an already perfect evening in the New Brunswick wilderness.